2025. Afreximbank and Barbados announced first ever Africa Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum. Senate summons CBN Governor Mefele over Naira fall. Plus, stock markets mostly higher after the Federal Reserve hikes rates. This is Business Express on the network service of the NTA, and we are reaching you from Abuja, the nation's capital. I am Benny Adams, your guide. Good to have you join us. It's that time we talk business. I will start by telling you that the Federal Executive Council has approved a draft medium-term expenditure framework for 2023 to 2025. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, announced this while briefing journalists after the weekly meeting of the council presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari. The size of the Nigerian economy, she says, is projected to rise up to between 225.5 trillion naira to 280.7 trillion naira during the period, thereby making the country retain its position as the largest economy in Africa.
2023 to 2025 is the crude oil price will be at $70 per barrel for 2023. And $66 per barrel for 2024 and $62 per barrel for 2025. Crude oil production will be projected to be 1.69 million barrels per day for 2023, 1.813 million barrels per day for both 2024 as well as 2025. We had reported to Council that the Nigerian economy still sustained its growth, 5 consecutive quarters. Last quarter reported 3.11%, that is Q1 of 2022, with most sectors showing positive growth. We also projected that the nominal GDP, that is the size of the Nigerian economy, will rise up to 225.5 trillion naira, with 95% of this contribution by the non-oil sector, while the oil sector will be contributing only 5%. And then some steady increase from 2024 to 2020.
And determined to derive maximum benefits from the abundant mineral resource potential in the country, the Nigerian Mining Value Chain Regulations Policy has been approved by the federal government.
Whatever you mine, even if you are unable as the miner to process, we're inviting investors, we're having people who will build processing plants. This government of President Buhari, post-COVID, granted some funds, and this funds is being used as demonstration project for this mineral processing policy. In Bauchi State, for instance, we are building a processing plant for kaolin. We have a lot of kaolin around Bauchi. We have a similar thing in Ebonyi State, where we have done a lead processing plant. We are doing a barite processing plant in Cross River State. We have a gold processing plant in Kogi. In Ibadan, it's the gemstones market, where we will add value to the gemstones that we find in Nigeria before they are exported.
Approval has also been granted Nigerian Air, the national air carrier, to lease aircraft for immediate commencement of operations.
We are starting with 3 aircraft for the first instance to do the runs, and then we progress. As to the make and type, most of them are either Airbus or they are Boeing, especially for the intercontinental and international flights. And this will start as domestic airline, and then would of course grow to become regional and international, also intercontinental.
And talking commodities, oil prices edged up on Thursday, extending gains from the previous session, buoyed by lower crude inventories and higher gasoline demand in the United States. Brent crude futures for September rose 40 cents to $107.02 a barrel, after gaining $2.22 on Wednesday. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was at $97.78 a barrel, up 52 cents after rising $2.28 in the previous session. Let's now see prices on the global commodities market. Starting a small business is hard work in any environment, but it's even more challenging in a tough economy. This is partly because when credit markets are tight, it can be challenging to get financing. That's why small business owners must sharpen their business plans. To shed more light on how to build businesses in a struggling economy is an online business consultant and life coach, Silas Chukwuma. Mr. Chukwuma, you're welcome to Business Ed.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
The International Monetary Fund, talking about the IMF, retained Nigeria's growth projection to 3.4. What does that mean for the Nigerian economy?
What it actually means when we say we're having a 3.4% growth, it means that there is going to be some form of improvement from the last year's value and this year. Now, it simply means that there's going to be a little economic growth. But we must not forget that the IMF, the statistics of the IMF on Nigeria alone is not, we cannot just take it independently, because if you look at the global IMF index, right, we're saying that there's going to be a downturn. As a matter of fact, globally, we expect that we should have about 3.2% to about 2.9%.
2.9%.
Yeah. So if globally we are having a drop, right, now, and Nigeria is having a little increase, we should expect that overall there's actually going to be a drop, and we are going to feel it. We're going to feel it. Yes.
Well, are you sure we don't have enough shocks to feel to get a balance of? Well, that being said, for a person thinking of becoming an entrepreneur, particularly at times like this, what are those things that one should look out for to ensure that you don't just start a business and fall off along the line? What are those basic things you need to start off with in consideration of the times that we are in, talking about the challenging economic times?
All right. One of the first things I would really love to tell people that want to go into business at this moment is, one, you must look at going into a business that has future potential. And when I mean future potential, we have a situation where the environment of doing business is already hostile, right? So if you're doing a business that is not generating you any form of foreign investment or foreign revenue or foreign currencies, then I think you should look for a way, because the world has been made a smaller place because of the internet. So because of that factor, you must look for a way that you can do business and your customers will not only be people within your locality. Yes, exactly. So you should look for businesses that can get you income from outside. You know, you should be taking advantage of the online space and all of that. But
I'm talking about forex trading.
Forex trading is one of them. Forex trading is one of them. But beyond
forex, all of them. Let's have
all right. Okay. Beyond forex trading, we could look at e-commerce. E-commerce. A lot of people buy and sell stuffs in Nigeria. We have a lot of businesses that, a lot of shops, the average shop, right? Now, but what if you take that business online? Right? If you take that business online, you discover that before you know what's happening, with proper marketing online as well, you could get customers from almost any part of the world. Right? That's one of them. E-commerce is one of them. Affiliate marketing is also one of them. Right? And when we talk about affiliate marketing, we're simply saying you're marketing a product that you don't even have. You're not the owner of the product. You just look at a business that is already existing, and you just, okay, I like this, I like this, I like this, and you pick it up and you market it. And the beauty of this is that you can do that on any niche.
Okay.
Like you can do that practically on any niche. And if we look at that also, like you just said, Forex. Now, the thing about Forex is we have people that are looking for where they will just put their money. But that's not just how it works.
Because you might lose it.
You would actually lose it. I've been trading Forex for over 13 years, right?
Amazing.
And one of the things I've always told people is that I've not seen any Forex investment company that has gone mainstream that has stayed beyond 5 years.
Seriously?
Yes.
I don't want to mention names.
Right.
But that being said, before we go back to that, yes, the e-commerce thing is actually an avenue where small businesses, medium businesses should take advantage of. I remember the last ministerial meeting of the World Trade Organization, where we have the DJ as Ogungozi Okonjo-Iweala, is saying Africa and Nigeria should take charge of this space, and they're actually providing capacity building. But the concern here is there are fears of going online. Yes, COVID-19 came with the opportunity for you to take your products from the physical market to the virtual market, but safety, security, transaction on that platform is challenging. How then, what should we look out for?
All right. Okay. So one of the major problems we have in the e-commerce space is there's something that trended online recently. What I ordered versus what I got.
It's an experience. I've been there.
Yeah, I've actually been there. And this time I ordered something from China and I got something else. Right? So
this time from China?
From China.
Okay, not from within.
Not from within.
Wow.
So it happens everywhere. Right? And another thing people need to understand is that when you see things online, it's actually high resolution image. So
camera work,
the camera work, a lot of editing,
it gives you an impression. This is the way it is.
Do you understand? So, but the thing is,
how do we get to solve this kind? It's a challenge.
It's a problem.
It's a problem. Though they will tell you, okay, if this product is bad, you have so period of time you can return it. But for such, does it apply most times?
Of course it does apply, but when you look at the rigors,
what should you look out for to ensure you don't fall into such?
Okay, now one of the things, if you're doing any business online, one of the things that is going to really help you, especially e-commerce, one of the things that is going to help you is getting your customers, your existing customer base, to give positive reviews. And if you want to buy anything on any e-commerce store, look out for reviews.
Okay.
Look out for reviews. When you see somebody say, it's just like when you try to buy something on Gigi, and you go and you see that you are seeing comments from other people that have patronized this guy, that this guy is a wicked man, he doesn't pick call, he does this one, and you still go and buy something from that guy. That's a red light already. So when you see that, you know that, man, I think I should look for another agent or something. So most of the time when you want
but
to
I've also seen it was a beauty pageant advertised online, where you had previous winners come to say, okay, I did this and I got this, but on verifying, you just discover that it's an in-house packaging. How can we check this?
All right, now when it comes to the truth is, the online space is a world on its own.
Right? At that.
So before you put your money, your one dime, into anything online, please do due diligence. Make sure you have. I tell a lot of people, okay, some months ago, about 9-10 months ago, somebody sent me a message. He said, I want to do this business with this company. What do you think? And I normally don't do that for people, because I would expect that you do your own due diligence. But I said, okay, for the sake of business closeness, I decided to do a background check. And when I did a background check, I called the guy. I said, see what I found out. This company is existing with a name of a company that already exists in the US. And from what I've seen, there is no form of affiliation. And this company was just recently registered about a month or 2 months ago, and the one in the US have existed for years. So what I can see is that this is a clone.
Okay.
Be careful. And that was where I stopped. 8 months later,
Okay.
of course, he lost the money he invested there. Of course.
So due diligence is a way
Due
to go.
diligence is key.
Okay,
You just can't
we
do that.
often hear a lot of people say, do smart marketing, but start small to get to expand. How does that work in our environment?
Okay, one of my mentors, we always say, start locally, but think globally.
Good.
And that's just the truth. And one of the reasons why you need to start locally is because, like I said, when you go on the online space, one of the things you need are good reviews. You need good testimonials. And you need content. That's all. What people want to see is, okay, this guy say he does this thing. What and what has he done before? Has he been able to? So I meet people that say, okay.
And how long has he possibly been in the market?
Exactly.
And his success is recorded.
Okay, a lady came to me, she just finished NYC, that she wants to go into a particular kind of business, and she has done the training, and she's going to, if she does the business for me, I'll give her 120,000, but because she know me, I'll give her 60,000. That she wouldn't mind collecting 60,000. I asked her a simple question. I said, let's switch roles. You be here, let me be there, and let me offer you this. Will you pay me? And he said, no. I said, yes, that's exactly the truth. And you know why you wouldn't pay me? Because one, you don't have a track record. Two, from what I've seen, you don't have any previous experience. You just learned something online.
Say starting is usually difficult.
Of course.
The confidence. So how do you get to grow to build that confidence?
Exactly.
To get the customer base you need, have way to get to excel in that particular business.
Perfect. Now, what you need to understand is that you need to understand that for you to gain confidence, you must be willing to offer your services for free.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. To start, you should be willing to offer your services for free. Okay, I run some online programs and I do them for free. One of this topic we are talking about now actually was on my Instagram live. I did it for free.
Okay.
I talked about these things
Starting
for free.
businesses.
Starting businesses in a struggling economy. I talked about it for free. I was invited by one of my friends in the launch of his microfinance, and I talked about the same thing for free. Now I have a podium and I'm still talking about it for free.
That's the way to start the business.
That's exactly how to start.
Thank you so very much, Silas Chukuma, for sharing such deep insights. I'm sure whoever is about to start a small business or want to start big will think of starting small and
Exactly.
for free, then grow it over time.
Yeah, you should
Thank
be
you so
able
very
to
much
do that.
for sharing. And we'll get to talk more
All right.
on this. Next is our Surviving COVID-19 series as put together by Identifiable.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
I'm a trader now, selling dealer in all kinds of clothes, as you can see, shirt or t-shirt, jeans and trousers. That is what I'm dealing with. I've been in this business over 12 to 13 years now. Throughout the COVID-19, we face a lot of challenges because of staying at home for quite a long time. So we face a lot of challenges about the business we are doing. No customers, everywhere dried up. You know, that kind of a thing. It's not only myself. A lot of people are suffering since the COVID-19 time. Actually, the market now goes smoothly, small, not as before, as it's rushing before because of challenges of money. So that is what we are facing. There's no money in town, and also the cost of exchange rate, because all the business we are doing here is equivalent to naira, silver, and dollars. Now to buy is a problem to us because of currency high price. They brought it here, we heard of it. Government loan, they are going to give us this, give us money to fund our business. Even there was a time which our vice president come to this market, and if I'm happy to get the loan, is to invest it here in the business I'm doing. Because all of us here are looking for money to pull out in this business. You see, Okrika now, come on something like okay business. If you don't have to up to 2 million now, you cannot food the shop. Even 3 million. The cost of this thing we bought it 250 before. Now the cost of each bell now in market is about 420,000. So where are you going to? Because of the exchange of naira. So that is it.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of
Still talking about trade, the government of Barbados and the African Export-Import Bank, Afreximbank, have announced the first ever Africa-Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum, Active 2022, scheduled to take place in Bridgetown, Barbados, from August 31st to September 3rd, 2022. The forum aims to foster the development of strategic partnerships between the business communities in Africa and the Caribbean to bolster bilateral cooperation and increase engagement in trade, investment, technology, transfer, innovation, tourism, culture, and other sectors. The forum is also expected to contribute to the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement and the Caribbean Trade Development Agenda, further reflecting the deep-rooted ties between Africa and the Caribbean based on their shared history, culture, common identity, and destiny. Active 2022 will be holding under the theme One People, One Destiny, Uniting and Reimagining Our Future. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mohammed Musa Bello, has warned wealthy individuals against providing false information on their income tax returns.
This will eat into many possible surplus funds that can be deployed into the provision of infrastructural and social facilities to meet the increasing needs of our growing population. It is our moral and civic duty to file our returns. Listen, not only filing, we should be drivers and agents of positive change to file our tax returns with utmost transparency.
The naira crashed due to higher dollar demand. Affects supply gaps. Let's now see how much the naira is exchanging for other currencies. Equity trading on the floor of the Nigerian Exchange Limited witnessed another drop in share prices as bears sustained their grip on the stock market for the 7th trading session. Consequently, the NGX All-Share Index dipped 253.82 basis points to close at 50,188.55 basis points as against 50,442.37 recorded previously. Market capitalization of the equities depreciated by 137 billion naira from 27.064 trillion naira the previous day to 27.201 trillion naira. Market sentiment remained on a negative territory. Meanwhile, a turnover of 829.51 million shares exchanged in 4,977 deals was recorded in the day's trading. Shares across the world this Thursday are responding to the U.S. Federal Reserve's decision to raise rates by 75 basis points to fight inflation. Neka Oko has details.
U.S. stock futures moved lower early Thursday as markets staged a major rally on Wednesday, following another 0.75 percentage point hike from the Federal Reserve. Futures tied to the Dow Jones Industrial Average slipped 0.09%. S&P 500 lost 0.21% and Nasdaq 100 dropped 0.53%. European markets advanced as global stocks took heart from slightly less hawkish messaging from the Federal Reserve. The DAX added 0.26% in early trade, with London's FTSE rising 0.38% and CAC 40 of France gained 0.63%. Stocks in Asia Pacific were also higher on Thursday following the U.S. Federal Reserve's decision to raise rates by 75 basis points to fight inflation. Among the major markets, only Hong Kong stocks slipped. The benchmark Hang Seng Index was 0.3% lower. The Shanghai Composite gained 0.21% to 3,282.58, while Japan's Nikkei 225 was 0.36% higher at 27,815.48. African markets are pointing to a positive open this morning after a near bearish outing the previous session. South Africa is already seeing 1.1% up at 60,722.95. Namibia gained 0.1%, while numbers from the other markets are still being expected.
Do join us again on Friday at 3 p.m. for another package. I am Benny Adams.
If you get to see the way telling about the post this, don't forget to send in your messages.
There's a difference between picking, child, and issue. Actually, cool. The idea that is the can do more with less people.
If we have a better way of addressing these issues, taking care of...
Congratulations, you've been able to sign some of right now from RB Leipzig.
You take the water before your workout.
Use that for a little TikTok to those that a lot of people don't even have resources.
I'm Cecil, and this is the Medley Show on NTA.
Information is power. Everyone wants power. So feel powerful with the NTA News Model app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the U Report link, and be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news, economy, security, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphone and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go. NTA News Model app. Your access to real-time information.
Together, no matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. Let's not fight in each other. Let us live as one. It doesn't matter where you come from. Don't fight for religion, man, woman, or child. It doesn't matter who you are. Nigerian first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
How can we develop when we're always in crisis? Families have become refugees in their country. No matter our differences, show some understanding.
No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's be together.
NTA, you can't be rich.
And there's a start.
It's up that way. Bishop of basketball. He hung on that net like a stalk up a tree. NTA Sports 24 brings you all sports, all time and all day. Tune in to watch NTA Sports 24 on Star Times Channel 270, Star Sat on Channel 434, Free TV on Channel 731. NTA Sports 24, where sports thrive.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
Total is a mustard seed. Then nurture it, water it, grow it into that tree in your rainforest.
And she already stands in front of it and asks me to take a picture.
We have highlighted one of the prevalent social issues in our society.
There are certain things we teach that it's good for you at the same time. There's a bad side.
Yeah. What is it that you want to leave us with today? So everything was so very human on
Our reality with Sky, 10:30 a.m. every Monday, and it repeats at 12 midnight.
I'm actually
Hello and welcome to the news at 10, reaching you live on NTA News 24, and we're reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. I am Comfort Amodu. Let's bring you the headlines.
We're inviting investors. We're having people who build processing plants. This government of President Buhari, post-COVID, granted some funds, and this funds is being used as demonstration projects for this mineral processing.
Federal Executive Council approves mining regulatory policy. House of Representatives to investigate remote cause of Nigerians' exclusion from World Health Organization's malaria vaccine rollout. FCT Minister cautions wealthy individuals on disclosure of income tax returns. And interest groups crave the importance of women participation in governance. And we begin at the Federal Executive Council determined to derive maximum benefit from the abundant mineral resource potential in the country. The Nigerian Mining Value Chain Regulations Policy has been approved by the federal government. Approved also is the grant by two Nigerian Air and National Air Carrier to lease aircraft for immediate commencement of operations. Details with State House correspondent Adam Sambo.
7 memoranda from ministries, departments and agencies were considered and approved during the council meeting, which lasted more than 5 hours. The one on the Nigerian mining value chain regulation presented by the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development is aimed at discouraging the exportation of raw materials from Nigeria so that the country gets maximum benefits from the economic resource potentials.
Whatever you mine, even if you are unable as the miner to process, we're inviting investors, we're having people who will build processing plants. This government of President Buhari, post-COVID, granted some funds, and this funds is being used as demonstration project for this mineral processing policy. In Bauchi State, for instance, we are building a processing plant for kaolin. We have a lot of kaolin around Bauchi. We have a similar thing in Ebonyi State, where we have done a lead processing plant. We are doing a barite processing plant in Cross River State. We have a gold processing plant in Kogi, in Ibadan. It's the gemstones market, where we will add value to the gemstones that we find in Nigeria before they are exported.
A gold souk, he said, is under construction in Kano for the northwest zone towards processing gold for jewelry making.
The golds that's mined locally in Nigeria will be processed in the Kano Gold Souk.
On his part, Aviation Minister Hadi Sirika has been given the go-ahead to ensure that aircrafts are leased to Nigeria Air to enable the national carrier hit the skies.
We are starting with 3 aircraft for the first instance to do the runs, and then we progress. As to the make and type, most of them are either Airbus or they are Boeing, especially for the intercontinental and international flights. And this will start as domestic airline and then would of course grow to become regional and international, also intercontinental.
Meanwhile, 1.5 million euros has been approved for the deployment of critical investigation tool by the Accident Investigation Bureau towards recording happenings in flight operations and related incidents. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed announced the Council's approval of 16 billion naira for the completion of Kano-Katsina Highway project awarded in 2019.
The final memo which I'm presenting on behalf of the Attorney General is the one which the Council approved for the MDLA to purchase some 32 operational vehicles to enhance their operation. I'm sure we've all noticed that there's been an improved performance on the part of NDLA in the last couple of months.
821.6 million naira is to be expended on the procurement in line with the local content policy of the federal government. The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has also secured the approval to implement the standard operating procedure for asylum seekers from Cameroon.
Every day, because of the proximity of Cameroon to Nigeria, we've witnessed an influx of refugees, seeking asylum. And of course, under international regulations, there are certain procedures you must take to ensure that those who claim to be asylum seekers are actually not, insurgents, themselves that have come to destabilize Nigeria, or people who come and be launching attack against their own country from the comfort of Nigeria.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed used the opportunity to react to the growing public concern over insecurity, stating emphatically that the Buhari presidency will not shirk its responsibility in effectively securing Nigeria and protecting lives and property. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And the State House correspondent Adamu Sambu also reports that the Federal Executive Council has approved a draft medium-term expenditure framework for 2023 to 2025. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning Zainab Ahmed announced this while briefing journalists after the weekly meeting of the council presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari. She says the size of Nigerian economy is projected to rise up to between 225.5 trillion naira to 280.7 trillion naira during the period, thereby making the country retain its position as the largest economy in Africa.
requirement of the Fiscal Responsibility Act, the medium-term expenditure framework describes Nigeria's socio-economic development objectives and priorities for the next 3 years. This draft document, as the Minister of Finance explained, is prepared against the backdrop of the low global economic growth and global high inflation amidst the lingering challenges from the COVID-19 pandemic, the consequences of the war in Ukraine, as well as the domestic economic and security concerns.
Assumptions that we made for 2023 to 2025 is that crude oil price will be at $70 per barrel for 2023 and $66 per barrel for 2024 and $62 per barrel for 2025. Crude oil production, we projected to be 1.69 million barrels per day for 2023, 1.813 million barrels per day for both 2024 as well as 2025. We had reported to Council that the Nigerian economy still sustained its growth 5 consecutive quarters. Last quarter reported 3.11%, that is Q1 of 2022, with most sectors showing positive growth. We also projected that the nominal GDP, that is the size of the Nigerian economy, will rise up to 225.5 trillion naira, with 95% of this contribution by the non-oil sector, while the oil sector will be contributing only 5%. And then some steady increase from 2024 to 2025 to reach up to 280.7 trillion in 2025.
However, like most economists, the Nigerian economy, she said, is fiscally constrained due to exposure to risks associated with the global market, including heightened inflation. On the performance of the 2022 budget up to April this year, the Council was informed that oil production performed at 1.32% as against 1.6%. The crude oil price, however, performed better than what was projected at $103 per barrel as against the $73 per barrel.
However, the higher oil price is offset by lower oil output as at April, which has stood at 1.3 million barrels per day. NNPC attributes this low oil production to the high incidence of crude oil theft as well as pipeline vandalization. We reported to Council that gross oil revenues that have accrued January to April is 1.23 trillion compared to the prorated target for the period of 3.12 trillion. This represents just a mere 39%. That is for oil and gas revenue. On the other hand, non-oil taxes reported a performance of 92.6% as at April compared to the budget target.
Observations and suggestions were made by Council members on prevailing challenges.
Development partners, now join Niger Delta for a live broadcast.
Capacity developers in the Niger Delta region. It is worth noting that the ministry has put a lot of work aimed at repositioning the NDDC to achieve its original mandate. The forensic audit successfully carried out on all the projects and programs that the Commission from inception to August 2019 is an example of the effort put in to make the Commission work for the Niger Delta people. Ladies and gentlemen, I will like all of us as stakeholders in the Niger Delta region to support this government in achieving its vision for the development of the region and in consolidating on the gains so far achieved that will improve the living standards of the people of the region. As I have said in one of I'll therefore seek the support and collaboration of all. I would like to thank everyone involved in the organization of this retreat I believe it is going to serve as an effective means and end a pathway to the solution we all desire for the Niger Delta region. On this note, I would like to warmly welcome you all to this very important meeting of the Ministry and the NDDC. I thank you all for your kind attention.
Thank you very much. Can we please give him another big round of applause? He has set the stage and he has asked us to give complete support to the present administration in order to develop the Niger Delta region. We want to thank the Honorable Minister for that very wonderful welcome address. Thank you very much, sir. On that note, and with the permission of the High Table, I have the singular honor of inviting Mr. President, ably represented by Muazu Jaji Sambo, Minister of Transport, to give his keynote address. Please, a big round of applause, please.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I crave your indulgence to stand on already established protocol. And being representative of Mr. President, I will just do the job for which I was sent here to do. And that is President Federal Republic of Nigeria at the opening ceremony of the management retreat organized by Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, being held today at the Banquet Hall Presidential Villa, Abuja. I'll proceed. I am highly delighted to deliver this keynote address at the official opening of this epoch-making management retreat organized by the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs for its directorate staff and those of the Niger Delta Development Commission. I hereby formally welcome the entire management staff of the ministry and those of the NDDC to this retreat and request you to pay rapt attention during this program in order to benefit maximally. This expanded retreat, which has the governors of the oil-producing states, chairmen of the relevant committees of both the Senate and the House of Representatives, oil companies, ministries, departments, and agencies in attendance, is a veritable platform to take major decisions towards effective collaboration, to derive value for money in the developmental initiatives by all these stakeholders in the region. It is therefore imperative to state that this retreat could not have come at a better time post the forensic audit of the NDDC, when all efforts are on board to reposition the Commission for better service delivery in accordance with the provisions of the Public Service Rules, Financial Regulations, and the Public Procurement Act. Accordingly, I would like to reiterate that henceforth fraudulent practices and violations of the procurement laws will be met with appropriate sanctions as stipulated in the Public Procurement Act. I'm prepared to give all the support required for project delivery, but be informed that I would also enforce the full weight of the law to penalize offenses such as contract splitting, contract duplication, multiple payments for same job, and all related forms of sharp practices. I would like to draw your attention to the fact that no more wastage of time and resources would be tolerated in running the affairs of the NDDC. The era of change of signposts, where many agencies claim payment on the same project, is over. There must be value for money for all infrastructurally related projects. Retreats usually bring together key functionaries of organizations from time to time to brainstorm and strategize on critical issues necessary for organizations to deliver on their mandate. Therefore, I believe this forum is to address issues that will enhance effective synergy between the ministry and the NDDC, which is expected to translate to improved development of the Niger Delta region. It is pertinent to emphasize that the NDDC at the point of establishment was placed under the supervision and control of the Presidency, specifically Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, because as at that time, the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs was not in existence. Accordingly, when the ministry was established, it became expedient at some point in the life of this administration to reposition NDDC appropriately to function effectively with adequate supervision and control under the ministry. The essence of this retreat is to sensitize and educate management of the ministry and NDDC on how to function collaboratively to achieve their respective mandates targeted at improving the living conditions of the Niger Delta. This has to be done with regards to the established guidelines on the relationship of ministries and agencies for parastatals in order to work harmoniously towards effective service delivery for the people of Niger Delta. Today's gathering provides a unique opportunity to correct whatever irregularities that existed in the past, and thereby strike an effective and prosperous working relationship. I enjoin all of you to take advantage of this unusual opportunity of this expanded gathering for the best interest of the region and the nation at large. Undoubtedly, the federal government has made huge commitments to the Niger Delta region in furtherance of its desire to give the people a new lease of life. This administration has been proactive in response to the issues of the region. We are adopting and implementing more prudent policies and programs that will bring about a better Niger Delta region. In pursuance of our determination to curb corruption and in response to the call of the governors of the South-South for a forensic audit of NDDC, I undertook some critical reforms and requested a forensic audit of NDDC from inception to 2019. The report of the audit has been submitted, and the implementation of its recommendations has commenced in phases. This process will soon usher in a new management and board for the Commission. It is important to state that the Strategic Implementation Work Plan, SIWP, a framework that focuses on the strategic objectives raised in the federal government's 20-point agenda and the Pan-Niger Delta Forum's, that is, PANDED 16-point agenda, will be strengthened to provide the strategic framework for coordination of development initiatives in the Niger Delta region to achieve maximum impact at this critical time. Furthermore, to strengthen the internal structures of the NDDC, the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs is hereby mandated to carry out a comprehensive staff audit of the Commission, ensuring that right staffing is achieved. I am pleased to note that the ministry has prioritized the implementation of the harmonization of all departmental plans of all agencies and development partners operating in the Niger Delta region into a single integrated regional development plan as a roadmap to accelerate accelerated development of the region. Work is already at an advanced stage towards its completion. I urge the ministry to fast-track the completion of this harmonization in order to provide a good strategy on which to function in the course of the development of the region. These efforts are geared towards repositioning the Commission for optimal performance in the provision of the needed infrastructural and socio-economic development for the people of the Niger Delta region. Accordingly, I urge all well-meaning Nigerians, especially the Niger Deltans, to exercise restraint and allow government to strengthen the institution for better performance. The ongoing East-West Road project is one of the largest infrastructure projects in Nigeria, and it is very strategic, connecting the country's busiest and foremost commercial cities in the region. Its completion is a priority to this administration, and this, I assure you, will be completed before the end of this administration. In line with the new policy direction of the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs to focus on major and impactful projects, the Honorable Minister is to mobilize all resources to fix the LMA roundabout to One Junction, which has major investments like the petrochemicals, One Port, and Free Zone, even if it requires a tax credit scheme. The Ogoni cleanup. The Ogoni cleanup project is purely a Niger Delta issue, which has lingered without meaningful progress. Hence, in order to achieve accelerated progress, the ministry is hereby mandated to take it over from the Federal Ministry of Environment. And the Honorable Minister is to submit monthly progress report to my office. In furtherance with the determination to reposition the Commission, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice is working on an executive bill for the amendment of the NDDC Act. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am optimistic that the outcome of this retreat will bring about the repositioning of NDDC to work under the Ministry of Niger Delta as clear down in the extant rules of the public service. This is appropriate as it will promote a feeling of teamwork and build a better understanding between the two organizations. I therefore call on all participants to take advantage of this retreat and come up with resolutions that will galvanize both the ministry and NDDC towards breaking new frontiers in their mandates to develop the region. I wish you all fruitful deliberations in this retreat and thank you in anticipation of your immense contributions. And on this note, it is my singular privilege and honor to formally declare this management retreat open. Thank you and God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much, as the Minister of Transport, Mazu Jaji Sambo, representing the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Please can we give him a big round of applause? I'm sure a lot of us will say that speech is a collector's item. A speech that needs to be part of the retreat itself. And the stage for the retreat has actually been set. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to be alone this morning talking. I have a friend of mine and a colleague, Dr. Chuks Osuji. I'll invite him to the podium here and he will take off from here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Permit me to take recognitions of the dignitaries that are here with us present. Excellencies, permit me to introduce the representative of Mr. President, who himself is the Honorable Minister of Transport, Maozi Jaji Sambo. Let's put our hands together for him. We also have in our midst the Honorable Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Obong Omona Okon Omana. May we please put our hands together. We have the Honorable Minister of State, Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Sharon Ikazo Expire. May we please put our hands together. We have the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Engineer Debi Olufunso, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Can we please put our hands together? We have the Interim Administrator, Chief Executive Officer of the Niger Delta Development Commission, Dr. Effiong Akwa. Can we please put our hands together? We also have in our midst the Special Assistant to the President on Social Media, Loretta Onuche. Can we please put our hands together? His Excellency, Senator Hope Uzodinma, Governor of Imo State, is ably represented by Dr. Jimmy Imo, Special Advisor to the Governor. Can we please put our hands together? We also have resource persons, and in no particular order, let us acknowledge the presence of Dr. Goke Adegoroye, a retired Permanent Secretary. May we please put our hands together? We acknowledge all the directors of the Niger Delta Development Commission and all the directors of the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs. They are all welcome. Permit me to invite to give us the vote of thanks the Honorable Minister of State, Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Sharon Ikazo Esquire. Can we please put our hands together as she can?
Your Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, ably represented by the Minister of Transportation, Maozi Jaji Sambo, my brother Minister of the Niger Delta Affairs, Obong Omona Okon Omana, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, representative of state governors here present, the interim head of NDDC and his management team, the directors of the ministry, and our resource persons. I have the easiest job here to give the vote of thanks on behalf of the management and staff of the ministry. This retreat is meant to be a 2-day retreat, so we are fast forwarding this vote of thanks due to the exigency of work. So this retreat is organized to translate into reality the vision of the present administration of President Buhari for the Niger Delta. For us to change the narrative of the region, we are here to ensure peace and security in the Niger Delta region and improve the socio-economic well-being of the people through detailed implementation of people-centered projects and programs. I particularly wish to thank the President for his consistent commitment to the development of Niger Delta region and his administration's efforts in ensuring lasting peace and stability in the region, which has now made the South-South an attractive zone in Nigeria today. As I said earlier, this is a 2-day retreat. We look forward to all the ideas and insights that will be shared in all the papers, as well as the subsequent brainstorming session that would follow. It will be very helpful for us to hear how to achieve synergies with seamless interfaces among NDAs which share a similar or rather overlapping mandates with us. We would like to hear how best to achieve impactful and cost-effective infrastructural development in the Niger Delta, and of great importance will be the repositioning of the NDDC to make it more transparent and effective. To our dear governors of the 9 Niger Delta states, we look forward to stronger collaborations with you, and we thank you for all you do for the people of the Niger Delta. Our appreciation goes to the Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Gambari, for his support throughout the process of planning this retreat. And also to the head of service, we thank her as well for her drive to ensure that the core values of the Nigerian civil service are upheld. To our development partners, international oil companies, and other stakeholders, we appreciate your continuous support and let us continue to build on that. Our gratitude goes to our resource persons who are with us today and tomorrow, Dr. Goke Adegboye, Mr. Edward Adamu, Engineer Isaiah Yesufu, Engineer Debi Olufunsho, of course, our permanent secretary, Mr. Shehu Aliyu Shinkafi, and Efyong Akwa. We look forward to your quality ideas, suggestions, and initiatives at this retreat towards achieving our planned objectives for the Niger Delta region. I thank the organizers of this event, and of course our permanent secretary and the management team of the ministry and that of the NDDC for putting this together. I urge all our stakeholders to sustain the partnership established with the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs. We'll continue to leverage on all our experiences and expertise to ensure that we bring the much needed development to the Niger Delta region. As we depart this retreat tomorrow, may God bless each and every one of you and guide you back safely home. God bless the Niger Delta region and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much. Can we please put our hands together for her? There couldn't have been a better vote of thanks. Your Excellencies, permit me to also acknowledge in our midst the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Dr. Mohammed Mahmoud Abubakar. May we please put our hands together for him. May I also acknowledge the presence of the representative of the Honorable Minister of Power, Engineer Kingsley Odo. May we please put our hands. Representing the Minister of Water Resources is Engineer Danjuma Madaki, Director of Water Supply, Federal Ministry of Water Resources. Can we please put our hands together for him? Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we will have a group photograph. May we please be... We'll take the group photograph. Please, we'll take it from here. I think the Permanent Secretary, Ministry for Niger Delta, is around, please, so that we can organize and use the background to take the picture, please.
Did you get to see the way Caleb about to post this? Don't forget to send in your messages.
There's a difference between picking, child, and issue. Actually, cool. The idea that is the can do more with less people.
If we have a better way of addressing these issues, taking care of...
Congratulations, you were able to sign Timo Werner from RB Leipzig.
You take Toyota before your workout.
People have used that for little TikTok to those that
Like the professional.
a lot of people don't even have resources.
You can't even hear the sound of a couple.
I'm Cecil, and this is the Medley Show on NTA.
Your son-in-law is a criminal, and my job is to take such off the street of Nigeria.
Nigeria's movie industry is becoming a force to reckon with, growing its fan base from 20 million in 2003 to over 100 million.
Africa has stories, Nigeria has stories, because you always hear, but the filmmaker makes you see and feel. It's better for you to tell a Nigerian story today and let the world see than trying to do a film like an American film.
The creativity in the storytelling is attributed to how Nigerians embrace diverse stories. In an accessible way, they utilize English, Pidgin, and other Nigerian dialects.
Oh baby. Oh baby. Okay. My name is Terry Omajo Arias Redis Milo. I sit down there, I see you, you fine oh. So I come and do friendship. So
You see us. Don't you recognize your class when you see one?
The storylines have shown that we are possibly in need of each other.
The creative industry in Nigeria is acknowledged and recognized throughout Africa. In spite of this, some say the movie-making industry in particular is not providing enough opportunities for highly specialized talents and skill sets.
This medium is very technical. Now you have a good story, you have good actors. How are they captured? You use lights and camera position to create mood. You know, the image speaks louder than words. If you want to portray that somebody is depressed or is not happy, he doesn't need to tell me in his language that he's not happy. If he said he's not happy in his language, I need somebody who understands his language to tell me what he's going through. But especially by camera position, by lighting mode and environment production design, I can tell that this person is depressed or is not happy. If I pick that image, I'm going to take it to anywhere in the world, they will know that this person is not happy.
The question now is, can the Nigerian movie industry compare favorably internationally? Perhaps with more originality, more reality, better scripting, and more training locally and internationally. The Nigerian movie industry can move higher still.
Can't be friends.
Aquaculture as a world emergent industry and one of the fastest growing food production subsector in the world. And due to the apparently declining global fish catch, aquaculture is crucial for food security and nutrition for a rapidly growing global population in the nearest future. Approximately 200 million people around the world are involved in fishing and aquaculture, one way or the other, with efforts to provide around 100 million tons of fish every year. This will mean an average consumption of 16 kilos per person, but in many places where fish is the principal source of animal protein, average consumption is far higher. Much of the bountiful harvest is produced not just by large industrial operators, but by local small and medium-scale producers. And do you know that half the fish supplied to world markets come from developing countries? In Africa, Latin America, and Asia, Africa is blessed with abundant resources, human and natural, that are only now being properly tapped and harnessed. The success story of aquaculture abound in Nigeria, Ghana, and Malawi. And we bring the focus of the world onto glaring cases in Nigeria, which is the Ijebu railway fish farm village in Djibouti, which rears the African catfish.
I still enter knowledge, and the industry too, there's still room for them to learn more. So mountain training and training and retraining is also a key to enhance productivity.
The rural farms has gained international recognition from bodies like FAO of the United Nations, DFID, JICA, UNDP.
On our own part is to source for more funds for them, because really speaking, there is no way you can really grow well in this kind of business without adequacy of resources. Without borrowing, without getting some loan, there is a limit on the growth. With 4,937 pounds, if they have 2 billion, access to 2 billion naira, that may not be even enough as working capital in a year.
We're one of the founders of who started aquaculture in Ghana, Crystal Lake, in collaboration with Water Research Institute. We had to do a trial to assess whether the local species could grow competitively in Ghana. And so this was partly funded by Danida. So we did that, and we established that the local species could grow competitively in Ghana. This is, of course, and taking into consideration how much tilapia is being sold in Ghana. So it proved that aquaculture could be viable in Ghana.
What we are giving out today, because previously, like I told you, you harvest your fish at the end of 6 months, and you may ask yourself, are they be hatched in the cage? But now, farmers who are the customers tells you, look, Mr. Limo, your products are good, your fingerlings are very good. What is the source? And we tell them the source. And I'm happy because it's a win-win situation. You grow, I grow. So whenever I get the feedback from the customers, it makes me happy. And also, we try to do extension services. All our customers that we supply, we make sure every month we go and check their body weight, help them to calculate the biomass, and advise them on what feed change, what you have to do, what you don't have to do. And I think it's helping the industry a lot.
I started, hatching and selling fingerlings. I started with 3,000, but right now I am selling 4 million fingerlings and 2,000 fry. I went to Nigeria last year. I learned, wow, that was a shock to me, because when I saw the extent and the progress that our fellow Nigerians are doing, when I came back, I said, that is a revolution. The catfish industry in Nigeria is a revolution that is required here in Malawi.
As the global demand increases and more opportunities are created, better and improved nutrition for children with dietary requirements met by the consumption of fish. New job opportunities like feed processing, fish fingerlings, construction of net, and other fish farming related activities to drastically and effectively reduce poverty and also feed growing population.
Of all our enterprise development programs, of all of them, agriculture is number one that has helped so many people out of poverty. Because nobody wants to die inside poverty. Able to tell them, look, there is a way out of this poverty, and they are ready to. And when you get to the side, you now see people who are nowhere before, and today they own houses, they own cars, they have their children in good schools, they can eat well and all that.
My name is Sunday Oyo. The business is okay because for what we're doing, I have a wife and 4 kids. I'm living well with my kid with the business because what we are making by a week is okay for me and my family.
The success recorded in the recent past years, which is already attracting investors, more national and international investors are invited to come and invest and partake of the riches of investing in agriculture.
Information is power. Everyone wants power. So feel powerful with the NTA News mobile app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the U-Report link, and be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news, economy, security, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphone and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go. NTA News mobile app. Your access to real-time information.
Have friends with me, ma.
Calm down.
Nollywood. Nigeria's film industry has generated several billions of dollars for the Nigerian economy and forms one of the largest and highest employers of labor in the country. But there is a serious cancer that plagues the industry: piracy.
The major functions of Nigerian Copyright Commission is to enforce the copyright law, and that enforcement means, well, part of the enforcement really means trying to stop any criminal violations of copyright. Basically, the law charged us to arrest, investigate, prosecute any criminal violation, any person who has criminally violated copyright. That is to say, people that, for example, reproduce works protected by copyright, people that distribute those illegal products produced work, people that import those illegal produced works. So if you then put a work on the web and it's and they then allow people to download it and you don't have right to do that, it's as much a crime as somebody who produces a CD and sells out there in the market.
What they can from them.
The industry produces hundreds of thousands of films yearly, one of the highest outputs in the world. However, a lot of income is lost to piracy in the industry, with pirated copies of films getting to the streets for a small fraction of the price just hours after release.
Because of this new trend, the Commission does sometimes like they set up what we call the Online Copyright Inspectors Unit. So this thing try to solve the web, try to identify websites where illegal works are hosted without authorization, try to track down where links that allow people to download movies, films online, try to carry out investigation, try to find the registrants, those who are behind this, try to make arrests of this act, and it has, and indeed do what we call disruptive actions, because there are times you may not be able to find the person behind the website. He can as well be outside the country. So we try to disrupt those websites.
Although Nigerian laws prohibit piracy and copyright infringements, it is nonetheless an illegal thriving business thanks to a combination of inadequate copyright enforcement, a near total lack of prosecution, and corruption in the system generally. In fact,
the law says all criminal prosecutions are regarded as criminal prosecution. If you must succeed in prosecuting a crime in Nigeria, you must prove your case beyond reasonable doubt. And if you are unable to prove your case beyond reasonable doubt, then that is a problem.
The Nigerian Copyright Commission is attempting to rework the legislation that governs how artists, including filmmakers, are compensated for their work and intellectual property. Apart from adequate legislation that will lead to meaningful compensation for copyrights, deliberate and continuous enforcement of copyright laws must be seen to be sustained to reverse the high rate of theft of intellectual properties, which is crippling the Nigerian film industry.
His craft.
Together, no matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. Let's stop fighting each other. Let us live as love. It doesn't matter where you come from. Your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are. Nigerian girls. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
How can we develop when we're always in crisis? Families have become refugees in their country. No matter our differences, show some understanding.
No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's be together.
NTA, you can't be rich.
And there's the start.
It's up that way.
Archbishop of basketball. He hung on that net like a stalk up a tree. NTA Sports 24 brings you all sports, all time and all day. Tune in to watch NTA Sports 24 on Star Times Channel 270, Star Sat on Channel 434, and Ring TV on Channel 731. NTA Sports 24, where sports thrive.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International. Your window to the world.
Not total is a mustard seed. Then nurture it, water it, grow it into that tree in your rainforest.
And she already stands in front of it and must listen to the picture. And I'm hoping
One of the prevalent social issues in our society.
There are certain things we take that are good for you at the same time. There's a bad side.
Yeah. What is it that you want to leave us with today? So everything was very human on
Our reality with Sky, 10:30 a.m. every Monday, and it repeats at 12 midnight.
I'm actually a passionate baker. I don't rest until everything is done.
When I entered university, anytime I'm broke, I'll make cupcakes and go and sell to the other students.
Decorating cake it's an artistic thing, and art is, dynamic.
Join us on Baker's World every Thursday on the network service on the NTA. Baker's World, celebrating creativity. Don't miss it.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the news update at 11. I am Claire Dilap-Abdulrazak. And from the Red Chamber, senators of the opposition party have resolved to serve impeachment notice to President Muhammadu Buhari if he does not address the issue of insecurity in the country within 6 weeks. Minority Leader of the Senate, Philip Aduda, raised this through a motion which was overruled by President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, who said he was not aware of the motion as provided by the Senate standing orders.
First, you are supposed to cite the order. Second, you are supposed to discuss with me what you are going to discuss. You didn't. Thirdly, I read the progress reports. Thirdly, when I read it, when some of our colleagues were still not listening. Thirdly, we have already passed that stage. Look at where we are today. So, just hold on, please. So, at this moment, that point of order, I don't know what it is, but falls flat on its face.
Consequently, the minority senators walked out of the Senate chambers. Meanwhile, the presidency has described as childish the antics of some PDP senators staging a walkout, notwithstanding President of the Senate Ahmed Lawan's refusal on Wednesday to entertain the ridiculous motion to impeach the president. A statement by the Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, indicates that rather than making a mockery out of voters by trying to imitate what they see in America, the opposition would be well advised that their time would be better spent tackling the pressing issues Nigerians face, such as the current global cost of living crisis. The statement adds that, in contrast, the Buhari administration is committed to finding lasting solutions to the emerging security threats, including those left behind by the PDP in the South, the Northeast, and throughout the nation. He emphasized that APC welcomes their collaboration in efforts to solve the problems Nigerians face on a daily basis, saying no one is asking them to waste their time attempting to impeach a democratically elected president at the end of his second term. Garba Shehu also says if they want to be in government, they should start acting like it and stop undermining Nigerian voters, the statement concludes. And those are the stories we're trading at the moment. To join us again at 1 for another update. And of course, we'll be back here at 3 for News Desk.
This is the network service of the NTA.
There is a perception that starting a business, especially a bakery, is very capital intensive. But do you know that your intellectual capital can play a vital role? Oh yes. As a baker, your ability to breed concept that ignites value could be a bridge that will connect you to the source of a much desired startup capital. This is Baker's World on NTA. Here we dish out all you need to know about cake recipes, cake decorations, cake shows, cake making business, and so many more. I am Funke Oyeyele. Thanks for watching. On the show today, we'll be showing you how to make sponge cake that will be suitable for a tea time break. Our guest is a talented baker who projects our cultural heritage in cake decoration. A conversation segment will give you the opportunity to know more about this baker and her previous works. All these and more for you today on Baker's World. Welcome back. You're still watching Baker's World on NTA. Madam, you're graciously welcome to Baker's World.
Thank you.
Tell me how you started this business.
I attended a wedding of a family friend some time ago, and she made her wedding cake and her wedding dress. So I was like, oh, I didn't know that was possible. So from there on, I got inspired to start baking cakes. I got inspiration from there actually. So I started, and somebody in my house was making cakes, and I just was watching and learning from her and all. So that was how I started making cakes.
What has your journey been so far?
It's been fantastic, though there have been some challenges along the way, but then we are still going pushing through.
A lot has been said about the social media. How do you think the social media has impacted, the baking industry? How do you use social media to do business?
I would say it's really helpful, because through social media we've been able to get lots of clients. For us that doesn't run the front shop kind of store, so we advertise our services there, and people get to see it, and they come for our products through social media. It's very helpful for business.
You've attended so many cake fairs, cake shows within Nigeria here and even outside the country. If you were to rate Nigerian bakers, how would you say their performance is compared to, in terms of creativity?
For our bakers in Nigeria, I would say we are doing a whole lot right now. We have so many creative bakers out there. I say that because we travel a lot. Whenever we travel, we go there to upgrade whatever we already have. So for now, I said we're doing a whole lot.
Tell me what type of cake you like making.
I like making the traditional wedding cake because it's used to promote our culture as Nigerians. We tend to bring out the Nigerian culture in that kind of cakes. There's one particular one I would say I really like.
the one I made for the International Cake Exploration Society Abuja chapter. I think I did a whole lot of, I captured so many culture from so many states in that particular cake, and it was a wow to so many that saw it. So many people that saw it, they really liked it because I took my time to portray the cultures from this country.
You're making a Victoria sponge cake. Tell me, what type of decoration and design do you intend making on it?
It's a perfect kind of cake that anybody will like. It's not everybody that likes to eat the frosting of cakes, you know. So what you're going to be expecting is to see the whipping cream that will be used to ganache it, and it's fresh strawberries. I think even you, when you see it, you'll love it as well.
You have so many years of experience in this business. Tell me, what is the most important lesson that you say you held on to and have helped you in your business over the years?
I'll say the number one key thing is patience. I want to be patient with clients, with people around me, with co-bakers and all. I'll say patience is number one key to everything that you're doing, both in business.
Well, thank you so much for having this conversation with me.
You're welcome.
But that was our chat with the CEO of Comfort World Cakes, Comfort Oyemenu. Taking a cake making business to the next level is every baker's desire. Here are some points you need to know as highlighted by a business expert. Let's take Baker's Gist.
Nigeria is the investment brand of Africa. Everything we need to succeed in any area of life is right here. You don't need a dime to start most businesses.
Today you can sell anything you see without being involved, without buying it. Do you know you can actually get attached to somebody that has a bakery and tell the person you sell for the person? The person obviously does not know what technology is today, does not know what the social media is today. Take his phone number, take the picture of the things that he bakes and put it on Instagram and put your phone number there. People will start calling you to buy things. And as you start selling, as you make money from what you make from the sales you do, you will start developing your own yourself.
The bakers we have here in Nigeria are fortunate because everybody must take breakfast and celebrate one occasion or the other. In every breakfast or celebration, there is one confectionery product or the other. So bakers have a very big market. If a component of breakfast, for instance bread, is consumed by almost every family, then bakers have a lot to benefit. You may wonder why some bakers are struggling to thrive in the baking business.
The problem we have in Nigeria is that a lot of people are doing things the way things have been done by our forefathers. And education is not changing people, and the civilization and technology and the new ways of doing things, people are not adopting and using. Today you can rent a place and just get people that are having bakery products to use your place as outlet. And you start selling. All you have is just a rented apartment. And you start selling baking things. I see a lot of people, for example, who go to some of these supermarkets that bake very nice breads. And all they do is sell those bread on the street, and they are making money. In fact, they sell much more than people that have small shops, because they buy the bread in large quantity and they come out on the street, and because people don't want to queue to buy this bread in the supermarket, they rush their own and buy their bread, and they are making money.
Bakers in Nigeria should know that all they need to flourish is available and within their grasp. You just have to be more creative with your resources.
We are going to start making the Victoria sponge cake. It's an all-in-one cake, very easy and quick to make. I'll start with the flour. It's 500 grams. I put it in my mixer, in my mixing bowl. So next is the sugar, also 500 grams. Next is the egg. We have 8 eggs here. So the next on the list is the butter. We have 500 grams of butter. Next is our salt. Just a pinch. I'll say like half teaspoon salt. Next is baking powder. We have 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And of course, our flavor. Now we're going to be preparing the pan we're going to use to bake the cake. Well, I'm going to line it because it's a spring form pan that I'm using. But why I'm lining it is because I don't want it to stick to the pan. So first of all, I'll grease my pan. Then I place my lining paper inside the pan and add a little grease to it as well. So with that, you're sure that your cake is not going to stick. Next, we're going to mix our cake batter. After mixing for like 30 seconds, we increase the speed. But you have to avoid over mixing. So we're using our 8 inches spring form pan. It depends on how many layers you're going to be doing. You can decide to increase your measurement to double or triple, depending on how many layers of cakes you want to decorate. For me, I'm going to be using this to bake my recipe. I'm going to be making 5 layers of this. Preparing to go to the oven. We'll bake this for just 40 minutes, or when you insert the toothpick in it, it comes out clean. You know that the cake is ready.
I'm actually a passionate baker. I don't rest until everything is done. When I entered university, anytime I'm broke, I'll make cupcakes and go and sell to the other students.
Decorating cake it's an artistic thing, and art is, dynamic.
Join us on Baker's World every Thursday on the network service on the NTA. Baker's World, celebrating creativity. Don't miss it.
We're going to be mixing our whipping cream for our Victoria sponge cake. First, I have my whipping cream here, 600 grams. I'll put it in my mixing bowl. Then we have our chilled cold water. We have 3 cups of chilled cold water here. And next is my vanilla flavor. It's optional. So I'll need the balloon whisk to mix my whipping cream. We're going to be mixing for 40 minutes to form a very stiff peak to be able to pipe with it. See how thick our cream is. This is exactly what we need to pipe on our cake. It's time to frost our Victoria sponge cake. First of all, I'll get my piping bag.
This is the network service of the NTA. We now join our outside broadcast crew for a live telecast. Please stay tuned.
Ministry of the Niger Delta Affairs and NDDC relationship. So I can go direct. And in doing that, this will be the content that I'm going to be speaking to. The bureaucracy, the determinants of the structure of government, MNDA headship since inception, functions of MNDA and NDDC, and I'll go to a contentious part to show you that the presidency is structurally deficient to supervise agencies, government effectiveness index, public perception of the NDDC, the super agencies that have parent ministry as a logical support for what is being done now for NDDC. I'll also be talking about ministerial control explained, and then the relocation, the critical issues that we'll have to address, and then the imperative of synergy and coordination. And where I'll be citing the books and so on are the ones that are listed there. In doing this, let me, through the Permanent Secretary, thank the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Okon Umana, for inviting me to make this lead presentation at this ministerial retreat on the Niger Delta region. I wish to particularly note that Engineer Olufunso Adebiyi was appointed Permanent Secretary not too long ago and deployed to this ministry only last month after a brief stay in the Ministry of Women Affairs. Yet, he is already carving out a unique reputation for himself among the present core of permanent secretaries, as one of the very few that are imbued with not just the reform mind, but the courage and conviction to face and resolve governance challenges on the part of the execution of the mandate of his ministry. And let me make a personal confession here. I was seeing him for the first time this morning. Again, I'm supposed to be in Mexico now. Lady Sharon knows my connection with Mexico. But the exemplary commitment and professionalism that the PAMSEC displayed in putting together this program and his insistence, armed with an appeal to me through third-party officers that I respect, for me to present the lead paper is why I chose to stay behind, while my family have already gone ahead of me. And that the honorable ministers, both Okon Umana and my sister Lady Sharon, who moved here from environment, were able to buy into this program promptly, speaks to the like-mindedness of the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs leadership, the trio of the Honorable Minister, the Minister of State, and the Permanent Secretary, as well as the weight of what we are seeking to accomplish for our nation at this event. I have no doubt that this retreat will clear the way for the effective coordination and cooperation prosperity of the Niger Delta region. We are seated here as individuals to listen and to participate in the deliberations. Individuals do not perform governance. The bureaucracy is what we use as the tool for governance. Because it's the bureaucracy that connects, that manages, and that confers authority on us as individuals to carry out the responsibility that governance entails. The bureaucracy is the entirety of government organizations, staffed with officials based on experience and expertise to implement public policy. The number of government organizations that make up a bureaucracy, according to our constitution, are as may be determined by the president. That's what constitution says. It could be 1,000, could also be 20. The composition of what has been determined by the president is a product of complex interplay of, one, the nation's socio-economic aspirations and development objectives, 2, the cultural influences, and 3, the political considerations, including the weight of importance that a sitting president attaches to an issue, as well as the level of confidence that the president and the political class have in the nation's public service. The structure of government derives essentially from the arrangement put in place to accommodate myriads of offices, agencies, and ministries in a discernible pattern that clearly directs the flow of authority for the effective discharge of the executive powers of the president towards the efficient running of government. And because Nigeria practices presidential system of government in a constitutional democracy, the president is what constitutes the main stem from which executive powers will flow. First, into a network of main branches comprising the chairman of executive bodies and the ministers. Those are the first-tier appointees of the president. And then from them to the maze of secondary and tertiary branches of commissions, agencies, and departments, all of which daily carry out the specific functions and duties that governance entails. There are 3 identifiable factors that dictate the creation of a government ministry and agency. 1 is the provision of the Constitution under the fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy. The Constitution itself specifically mentions certain things that government must do. And from there, you have to create ministries to address those. But then there are also emerging national challenges, oftentimes with international consequences that require sustained institutional response and accountability by a sitting president. And lastly, there are national challenges with widespread consequences that are considered of utmost importance to warrant their being placed as a responsibility that requires direct reporting line to the president. You will find all of these in my book, Adegore 2015. Take, for example, the provisions of the Constitution. The item 1, that's the factor 1. Constitution says that, as part of the fundamental objectives and directive principles of state, security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. That statement alone means you should have Ministry of Defense, you should have Ministry of Police Affairs, you should have Interior, and so on and so forth. I'm sure we can all get that. But you will encourage free mobility of people, goods and services. When you hear that, what do you then talk about? Ministry of Transport, Aviation, Trade. And then it says you will harness resources of the nation to promote planned and balanced economic development. That is why, where do you get the resources? Your petroleum resources, the power, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Planning. So, and then when it says that you will also ensure suitable and adequate shelter, that immediately connects us with why we should have Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. But then, there are national challenges that will induce the need to create certain ministries. NDDC does not derive directly from the Constitution. There's nothing in the Constitution that says NDDC should be created. It's a child of necessity. And so is the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs. Both are the product of the second factor that I determined above, emerging national issues with international consequences requiring sustained and institutional response and accountability. NDDC was preceded by UNPADEC. We all remember that. Which in turn was also preceded by the Niger Delta Development Board. They all speak to the commitment of successive administrations before independence to address certain issues of the Niger Delta region. Government commitment to address the peculiar issues of the Niger Delta region predates Nigerian independence, and indeed the ecological impact of the oil discovery in the region. because the force of that commitment that resulted in the creation of the Niger Delta Development Board in 1958 was a result of the Sir Henry Wilkins Commission, which was actually to address the fears of ethnic domination among minorities. It had nothing to do with oil at that time. But then we had the Oil Minerals Producing Areas Development Commission, UNPADEC, which was established in 1992, with the aim of translating the role of federal government in the administration of 1% ecological and 1.5% ecological fund that was later raised to 3%, okay, to the oil producing communities as envisaged by the Act. And then we now have the Niger Delta Development Commission, created in the year 2000 as a mega big budget agency to address the development needs of the 9 oil producing areas. A critical example, one classic example of emerging national challenges is what we now know in the US as the Department of Homeland Security. It didn't exist, it was after 9/11 that one had to be created. Similarly, that's also how we created the Ministry of Niger Delta in 2008 in response to the yearning of the people of the Niger Delta region, who feel that the fact that it is their geographic area that produces petroleum, which is the mainstay of the Nigerian economy, has not improved their fortunes. So the agitation of the people of the area led to the creation of pressure groups like MEND, and which have drawn international attention. I was one of those that had some lasting discussion with the great Ken Saro-Wiwa. We were flying to London, and we had over 3 hours discussion on the plane. And he confessed to me that they were using at that time I was DG Environment, that they were using the environment thing to actually, as a weapon, to call international attention to the plight of underdevelopment in the region. So the creation of the Ministry of Niger Delta, over and above NDDC, the mega budget agency, to address the issue was to further ensure that the people of the region assure the people of the region of the strong commitment of government by giving the issue a cabinet level attention. So it is obvious that the appropriate structural, legal, and administrative framework to enhance the function of the ministry of the type done for the Department of Homeland Security are yet to be carried out for the Nigeria's Ministry of Niger Delta. And this is part of the reason why we are here today, and part of the things that have been said in the President's speech. This is the ministerial headship of the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs from its inception to date. My boss, the late Obangu Ekaite, a man that I worked with for over 4 years as his head think tank at the presidency. And then down the line until we now have Obangu Mana Okon, Umana, and Barrister Sharon Ikeazo. And the permanent secretary component is also as follows. My colleague Yaya Abdullahi, who at that time also, when I was working with the SGF, was special assistant to the SGF, and now down the line to Engineer Funsho, FNSC. I said you are here since May, but actually it's June. I need to correct myself. What are the functions of the Niger Delta Affairs? These are the functions. You know, I don't need to overburden you with that. And what are the functions of the commission? These are the functions. You will see me there putting some star, asterisk, and plus against. I'm trying to highlight those areas where the functions overlap that of the ministry. When you are formulating policy and guidelines, that belongs to the ministry. When you are conceiving plans and so on, both of you can do it, like they say, concurrence. When you are liaising with various oil minerals producing areas and so on, yeah, you can be the arm of the ministry, doing it, but it actually is a ministerial function. When you are assessing reports or projects being done, Yeah, you can do it, but the superior arm of government is the ministry. They have to report at cabinet level. The mission of the NDDC, you all know. I'll recap it there. And what I'm stressing here is that while the functions listed for the ministry are in line with what is expected, the functions and powers conferred on the commission are in excess of what should be handled by a sub-ministerial organ of government. That in itself is a challenge. But the challenge is also further compounded by the reporting line of authority prescribed for it in its act, which says the commission shall be subject to the direction, control, or supervision in the performance of its functions under this act by the president. That is a conflict. But we heard now that the act is being addressed. So, the notion that an agency that is made to report to the presidency carries a more credible weight in terms of importance, and that it is positioned for greater effectiveness in the performance of its mandate is a ruse, and indeed is a clever ploy to evade supervision. I'm telling you with all authority, I worked in that office for 5 years, spanning the period of Gidado and to the first 4 years of Ekaite. And we know how it works. This is because the two offices in the presidency to which non-line agencies are attached, namely the office of the vice president and the office of the secretary of government of the federation, are neither structured nor are they equipped to develop the capacity to effectively supervise those agencies. Besides, the holder of the two offices, vice president and secretary of government, are normally too busy with daily assigned duties flowing directly from the president. The result is that the effectiveness and efficiency of carrying out the mandate of agencies attached to these offices has over the years become a function of the professionalism, personal commitment, and dedication, and the integrity of the respective CEOs of those agencies. So CEOs just go there, and then they are lucky, they can see the SGF. Sometimes they don't get the right letters, the letters sit there for upwards of 10 months. I'm telling you with facts that I know, before those letters are attended to. Sorry. Structurally, unlike in the past, when we used to have a permanent secretary deployed to manage the office of the vice president, the deployment of a permanent secretary to the office of the president ceased in 2003, when the idea of a single presidency was mooted, rationalized, and adopted in the wake of the crisis of confidence between the president and his vice, ostensibly to cut the latter's wings. The office of the SGF, on the other hand, at any point in time, has a minimum of 6 permanent secretaries and up to 8 permanent secretaries. I listed them there. However, none of those offices carry the mandate for the supervision of statutory corporations, commissions, and agencies, as it was in years gone by. And I put it here that the governing board of the defunct FEPA, with 14 ministers on the board, is a classic case. I was DG, and I had 14 ministers in my council to be reporting to the SGF. The genuine commitment to achieve the mandate of an agency demands a realization of the need to align such an agency with its parent or line ministries. I hope we have that genuine commitment here. Why is that necessary? I'm giving you a global data here that rates Nigeria poorly in terms of government effectiveness index. Among BRICS, among mint countries, Nigeria is the poorest. Our position is between 162 to 169. Compare it with what you see there. For Mexico, for Indonesia, for Turkey, those are the main countries with Nigeria, and then the BRICS for Brazil, for Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Government effectiveness captures the perception of the quality of public service, the quality of the civil service, and the quality of policy formulation and implementation, and the credibility of government's MDA's commitment to those policies. That is what government effectiveness tries to determine. Government's effectiveness and efficiency can be improved by implementing public and private sector reforms, including streamlining the mandates of agencies to improve the performance of ministries, extra-ministerial departments, and agencies, which is part of the things we are doing here. What is the public perception of the NDCC? You open the newspapers, and all you see more of the time that NDDC is in the news for the wrong things. Fraud, abandoned and uncompleted projects and programs, massive corruption. Those things that I cite there are from the newspapers. Representatives invite Alaibe over so contract, Punch, 26 September. 2.1 billion fund, okay? EFCC arraigns ex-MD Danabia. EFCC arrests ex-NDDC MD in Sima Ikere. That's all you see. One person that was not touched, Vice Marshal Larry Konyan, had his integrity intact until leaving office. Next slide. Here we are again. NDDC is seen as the cash cow for election purposes. Just read the newspapers. You will see how many of the MD, as soon as they are there as MD, then you want to be governor. Or you are put there as an MD because you are a deputy governor and you fail election. And then you begin to see all of those things that are there. That is the perception. How do you work with that kind of perception and expect the people to even believe in the achievements that you think you are making? And I'm saying here, when you have reference to the president in an act, it does not mean that it cannot also be addressed by a simple order of the president and approval and so on. So the provision in an act that a commission shall be subject to the direction and control supervision of the president does not imply reporting to the president directly or the political office holders manning the executive office of the president in the presidency, per se. But whosoever political office holder the president designates by a statutory directive or executive order, as every minister, as first-tier appointee of the president, carries his executive powers and by so doing is an extension of the presidency. The Constitution says the president shall appoint ministers. Those are the cabinet rank that meet with him daily. That is his first branch. Outside of that branch is when you now have agencies and commissions and so on. How much of the effectiveness of the NDDC is a fallout of the inherent weakness of the supervision structures of their reporting offices? How much is due to the undue politicization of the appointments into those positions? Umpadek was located in the presidency. It also suffered the same fate. And I remember how Lael Imoke came into prominence. We were in that office. Umpadek was being administered as a sole administrator by PAMSEC Sikoki at that time. And my boss said, okay, we need to find somebody else. Sikoki was always coming, asking, the new government to really help out. So we sat together and we said, okay, we're going to send somebody there to go verify. There were many payments waiting to be made and so on. And Lael Imoke was a special advisor to the president then. So he was the one that was sent. Lael went, supervised all those outstanding payments, and was able to save 3 billion for government. So that struck Obasanjo that, oh, this man is a man of integrity. And of course, the rest is history. Next time they gave him appointment, cabinet rank appointment. Relocation of an agency is to evoke synergy in the operations. As the top management of the ministry and the commission, you're all lucky that government has provided the link to take your responsibility to its highest level of accomplishment by the new realignment. Locating the required synergy to do it is the core reason why we are gathered here today. In bringing NDDC, the Super Big Budget Commission, to meet its parent ministry, the NDC and the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs is not alone, because there are so many examples. Indeed, if we all believe in the agenda of government and we are genuinely committed to achieving the mandate of an agency, relocating such an agency to its parent or line ministry should not engender any negative reaction at all. Let me give you some examples that we have currently. You see there's NCC, all of us know, but it has a parent ministry. If you look at the act of the FCDA, FCDA is the one even empowered to employ people, to have departments, to do whatever. It's located in an administration headed by a minister. And you go to Ministry of Finance, doesn't matter how much money FRS collect or custom collect, they are still under minister. Interior, the same. National planning, petroleum, of course we know. That's the aorta of Nigeria, NNPC. It's still located under a minister. And then you have transport. And of course, environment, for where my sister was coming. When I was DG FEPA, I controlled everything. Nostria, there was no Nostria. I was in charge of desertification, oil spill, pollution control, biodiversity, everything. That was what I carried as my mandate. But the moment President Obasanjo came, I said he wanted to create a ministry. We now had started to realign everything. And I was privileged to be the one in charge of carving out responsibility for ministers under the SGF. So the first structure that we brought out, I had to advise Obasanjo that no matter the ministry or not, you still need an agency to perform the enforcement. So I was still putting there that PEPA should be there. And the president replied, I said this agency should disappear. I found out later on why he was saying that. We said, okay, we carve out all kinds of things for him, but in another 3 years, they realized they needed to create those agencies for the enforcement, because that's what agencies do. And then the ministry is the one doing the policy. Now let's go to some of the core issues. Ministerial control is not to stifle, but to facilitate. Ministerial control means control by the ministry. It's an institutional thing rather than a personal authority over a parastatal. Unfortunately, some ministers have displayed the tendency to misconstrue this to mean an authority conferred on their own persons, thus usurping the powers of the ministry. Whereas what is implied is a control involving the departments in the ministry, the offices of the permanent secretary, and the office of the minister. Such a relationship is what engenders the retention and domiciliation of expertise and institutional memory. In my book, that's why I criticize, my friend and sister Ngozi Iweala, when he came under President Jonathan and they call her the coordinating minister of the economy. And I wrote a lot about it in my book. You're coordinating minister of the economy. Do you have coordinating permanent secretary of the economy? Do you have coordinating director? Everything was only her. And when she left, everything just collapsed. There was nothing to carry it on. The coordination could not happen. But with her own stature, everything was done. And I put it in the book that you do not create new structures for any minister. The ministers are like tenants in a house. Your tenant fits into your house. You don't reconstruct your house to fit into a tenant. So we go ahead, stressing this ministerial control. Accordingly, the actions of the minister in respect of parastatals under a ministry, that is, your minister now, in respect of the commission, is expected to be on the recommendation of the permanent secretary, based on the advice of the directors of both the Department of Planning and the relevant mandate department of the ministry. Under no circumstance is a minister expected to see or discuss with the chairman and all members of the board or the chief executive of the parastatal in a ministry without the permanent secretary or the mandate department director as its representative being present. Flip that. That our control board should have direct access to the minister on matters pertaining to the affairs of the parastatal. You have direct access. You can knock on the door anytime. But that the chief executive of the parastatal may have access to the minister, but that in every case, the permanent secretary and or the director of the mandate department must be present whenever the minister discusses with the board members or the chief executive of the parastatal. That is what is prescribed. What goes for the minister also goes for the minister of state, as in line with the constitution. Both the minister of state and the minister are cabinet rank ministers. This Obasanjo stated clearly in 1999. If that's what the constitution says, it prescribes you appoint ministers. So the two are cabinet rank. It is for this reason that as much as possible, the schedules and responsibilities are expected to be equitable to engender partnership, complementarity, support, mutual respect, and acknowledgement. The permanent secretary is to, at all times, strive to foster this relationship with ministers, seeing their permanent secretary as colleagues working together to achieve the same goal. And so must the MD of the commission must also interact with the mandate directors and the permanent secretary. The same goes down the line from the PAMSEC to the directors. Indeed, by their complementarity, each minister, PAMSEC, MD, is like the flip side of a sandwich, the meaty core of which represents the sole purpose of governance, which is the delivery of service and democratic dividends to the citizen. Reciprocal respect and an acknowledgement of their efforts from the political head is all that the bureaucracy expects. Where they've done well, just say, thank you, my PAMSEC, thank you, my director. Tomorrow you will see them as issued by establishment or by whatever. These public service codes are your insurance against running foul of the law. They are your insurance against losing respect and dignity in the eyes of the public. They are your insurance against becoming itinerant guests of the EFCC and ICPC. And they are finally your insurance against becoming an inmate of the Kuje prison. It is therefore important going forward from here today that we begin to map out the necessary guidelines, standard operating procedure that will foster the smooth running of your respective operations based on your newly aligned, joint, but differentiated responsibilities. In doing that, the relocation of NDDC to MDA, the critical issues to consider as follows. 1. Repositioning the NDDC in a holistic way, including coming up with not just the administrative, but the legal frameworks through draft bills that will recognize the role of the ministry in its supervisory stroke oversight relationship with the commission. 2. Streamlining the programs to ensure that we achieve greater efficiency in our operations. 3. Enforcing strict adherence to the provisions of the Public Procurement Act, the Public Service Rule, Financial Regulations, etc. 4. Taking a critical look at areas of wastage in manpower recruitment and deployment with a view to boosting career progression and capacity building within the Commission. 5. Instituting organizational reputation management programs for the purpose of regaining public trust and confidence. All of this will entail the realignment of current structures and manning levels to remove areas of duplication and undue overlap, without prejudice to the introduction of new units and departments wherever found necessary. The principle of mutual stroke common but differentiated responsibilities apply. We have the same goal. We have joint goal, but we have differentiated responsibilities. It will also entail shedding the toga of official paraphernalia and indulgences to accord one another mutual respect in official communication and personal relationship. You know, I see every little chief executive signing a red biro, and I laugh. You are chief executive to your subordinates. You can mean it in red biro in your office. You cannot write outside of your office to your superior and equals in red biro. When I was in FCT as permanent secretary, at one point in time, there was no minister, so I became also the person sitting in as minister. And the FCDA executive secretary wrote to get approval from me and signed in red biro. So I called him. I said, now that you signed in red biro, which biro am I going to use to give the approval? For many of you, you will know that I signed in purple. It was since that time I was using purple. I said, you cannot do that. You go and sign in blue or black. And that's the way it has to be. So when you, as MD NDDC, write a letter to the PAMSEC in red biro, what do you expect the PAMSEC to do? Because as PAMSEC, when you see a red biro, you shake because it's your minister. And when you see green, you jump because that's the president. Given what has been outlined above, it is important that we appreciate the architectural considerations that go into producing a framework structure that is geared for the effective and efficient discharge of the multiplicity of concurrent actions that governance dictates within the executive arm of government. Chemical and physiological parallels to illustrate the ramification of organizational arrangements and alignment and the imperative of synergy and coordination for the effective performance of the functions of the three arms of government under the Constitution. The following slides, relax, watch it, will give you some illustration of why coordination is imperative. This visualize the strong body as government of the Federation. So what do you see? It's in the human body, you find out that structure is conferred by what we call the skeleton. It's what keeps everything in proper place. Similarly, in government, structure is established through organizational order. A good government structure provides the administration against collapse. It protects vulnerable groups against oppression, and so on. The question I want to ask is that, what are the current structures of the ministry? What is the structure of the NDDC? How are they designed to support your respective mandates in line with the overall agenda of the region? I go to the next slide. The three arms of government, because we are part of the executive, okay, what you find is that the constitution that protects all of us is the skull. When the military comes in, they chop up the skull so that they can do anything they want. It offers protection for the executive, which is the brain, to dictate the direction of governance. The legislature is the spinal cord, because from there you have all the nerves, they make the laws. Okay? The spinal cord, inside vertebrae that protect and strengthen the legal interpretations. So the laws made by the legislature, e.g. the NDDC Act 2000, and other gazetted rules and regulations are the nerves with which the various entities of government are administered. But then you need to run them. The bureaucracy, you know, the bureaucracy is, you need to run them. They are the muzzle. All of you sitting here, including the minister of SEPAMSEC, everybody down the line. You are the ones that can determine how smooth that journey is going to be, how fast, and how far in that development agenda you can go. It is obvious that a weakling, like the one in the extreme there, cannot go very far. So you must build your capacity. It's not that you are lifting weight. So when the power secretary says, I'm going to send you for training and so on, you are building your capacity to develop the muscle to do what you need to do. Next slide. You run these things by way of the budget. The budget is the blood that runs government. And then next slide, the digestive system. That's why you have all the, ministries and agencies. They are the ones that digest and get the nutrients that will nourish the body. You're nourishing the nation by whatever you're going to get. And then inland revenue, the oxygen, what you get from tax and so on. And also you require the security agencies, the lymphatic system. Those are the ones that protect the body against invading microorganisms and diseases. In the same way, you have the police, the armed forces, and so on. By the nature of your assignment, you have to relate with some of these people too. And then you have the service commissions. The supply of the workforce of government across administrations is done by the Civil Service Commission or the boards that are in charge of appointment, promotion, and discipline. But you are suspected to be the strict regulators in terms of screening those that will be appointed, in terms of the promotion that you execute, that should be one that will engender them to be able to do better. You are not supposed to act and make the place like an all-comers dump yards, whereby all your friends and so on, because today you are the MD of NDDC, you bring everybody else from your village and give them appointments. You are not supposed to yield to pressure groups. You are not supposed to pander to the dictates of other politicians. The question I want to ask here is, how has the NDDC fared in this respect of recruitment of people into NDDC and of removing those that are dead woods or those that have committed anything that is bad? My next slide here is a security system. That's the one that is supposed to maintain optimal state of performance through incremental improvements. So it is the responsibility of the ministry to work with NDDC to activate the reforms organ that will enable NDDC to do that, while you are doing your own through the Civil Service Commission. So, summarizing, the human body is made up of so many parts. I started out by saying that we're here as individuals, but we're going to be carrying out the function of bureaucracy as organizations. We're seated as individuals, but you are also ministry, you are commission. The same way human body is made up of 100,000 trillion, 100 trillion cells, those number of bones, isolated as individual body parts. The organs and even the system, they are not in any position to make the human body achieve any of its objectives. It is the same with public offices like our ministry here and the commission and the public officers that run them, from the minister of state down to the lowest officer. It is therefore imperative that we all appreciate that from the millions of people that constitute our country have emerged all of us sitting here, including those who are governors, senators, members of the House, ministers, chairmen of NDDC, MDDC, directors, and other stakeholders and interested groups, but working for the interests of the Niger Delta region in our various offices and organizations in varying numbers. Isolated as individual organs and systems, we will achieve nothing. Organizational structures and systems of government, including those of the ministry and the commission, must abide by the imperative of not just support, not just coordination, partnership, and collaboration, but of mutual and symbiotic relationship and respect for order and rule of law to achieve the common goal of good governance and effective service delivery in the implementation of in the presidential agenda of the infrastructural development and prosperous Niger Delta region. When we do that, we will then produce for Nigeria a strong region that's like this. The image of expected result of government intervention that the ministry and the commission must project henceforth is that will be strong region. With the current leadership at both the ministry and commission and the other stakeholders that are assembled in this hall, I know that we can do it, because give us the will to do it. I thank you for your attention. And for the benefits of those, some of the things I refer to, those are the books that I refer to. There's nothing I'm saying here today that are not things I've said before or that are written. Thank you all.
I'm sure the applause is for the MC. Can we please put our hands together for Dr. Okay? I'm sure if he had wanted to continue, all of us would have been happy to listen to him. We will take a few questions before we allow him to go and sit. He has made very important facts. So if there's any question that you want to ask, you raise up a hand, then he will take the question before he goes to sit, before we take the next paper. You raise your hand, you tell us your name, and you go straight to the question.
Yeah, somebody, okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. Particular greetings to the Minister, the Minister of State, Permanent Secretary, and the IA, and everybody here. My name is Ukeme Nkamara. I'm a director with the NDDC. I joined NDDC in 2001 when we didn't have the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs. The NDDC has a board, and this board has its functions. From the chairman to the MD and all that. There used to be a lot of problems then over who is the head of NDDC. Is it the chairman or is it the managing director? I'm sure you know that, sir. And so now that we are under the Ministry of Niger Delta, when a board comes, who is going to be interacting with the minister? The reason why I particularly say minister is because the mandate that moved NDDC from presidency to Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs says the minister, it didn't say the ministry. That has always been some subject of confusion. But I prefer to use minister. Who engages, who relates with the minister? Is it the chairman of the board or the managing director?
Managing director. That's the question. That's the right answer. The managing director is responsible for the day-to-day running. And the chairman, those are expected to be part-time members. Of course, there will be occasions where the board may also want to see the minister, the ministry, okay, the minister, okay? But in terms of day-to-day, it's managing director, okay, that will be interacting with the ministry, clearing all things, because that's the person that runs the place on day-to-day basis. It's the same procedure for all agencies of government, all parastatals. So you can just take a look from those lists that I put there and say, how did they react? Okay, environment from where Lady Sharon has just come from. There are boards also for their parastatals, but the relationship is from, the chief executive to the minister. But there are issues that are issues of board. And the board are also entitled to brief the minister at periodic times. That's what the guidelines say. Yes, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. Please pardon my voice. I have cold. Honorable Minister, Minister of State, colleagues here, and the guest teacher, I want to make a comment and then ask a question. You have alluded to several failures of the NDDC. And my name is Emmanuel Audu. I'm a director with the Delta State Office of NDDC. The failures are quite obvious, but those failures, in my view, they can be attributed more to the gap in the leadership recruitment for the NDDC than maybe due to lack of supervision. I'll give an example. When I joined the NDDC in 2002, Onyema was the board chairman, and that board recorded some very salient achievements. For instance, the Niger Delta Regional Development Master Plan was developed and launched successfully. And almost 90% of the quick impact projects were completed and delivered. Then the commission was reporting to the presidency. Now, you must also recall that one of the reasons for the creation of the NDDC was the need to reduce the red tape and the bureaucracy in the ministries because of the need to quickly develop the Niger Delta region. Now, with all the postulations you have made, I don't have any problem. But the question I want to ask is, won't the Niger Delta region be shortchanged if the NDDC is subsumed under the ministry and we run under one budget? As against now that the NDDC has its budget, the Niger Delta Ministry has its budget. If we really want to develop the Niger Delta region, is it not? Yes, the need to supervise effectively is underscored, yes. But what about the red tape? What about the loss of revenue coming to the region? I need you to address this, sir. Thank you very much.
Let me make right. In NDDC, you need to avail yourself of what's going on in government, including books that have been published. If I give you an example of ministries with super agencies, did I say that all of them have their budgets collapsed to the ministry? You think any is subsumed? That's number one. Number two, the ministry already exists. The ministry cannot recruit anybody without actually asking for, establishment approvals. So there's nothing new. Number one, to the president to report on this new assignment that he was given. So it wasn't. Do you have to now run organizations on the basis of the fact that you are going to have somebody that is selected? What about when you make the mistake that you don't select? You do not think that calls for the checks and balances of having some sort of supervision or oversight? So I need you to be able to see this. Nobody is saying, I don't know where you have it, but I'm not impressed that you are a direct. Next question, please. Yes. Please come this way. Come. No, answer.
Well, thank you very much. I believe we will achieve a lot if the level of participation is all inclusive, and I want to be a very active participant. I have listened attentively, and I want to commend you for a job very well done. Yes, we need to understand the relationships between the ministry and its parastatal, and the various dimensions of this relationship. There's the procurement aspect, which in my view, because this is now new, I don't believe it was properly established. There should be a threshold in terms of procurement, so we know what the management of NDDC can deal with, what what is beyond the MTB, that is their own level, or PTB as a parastatal, what it is beyond them, and what will then come to the ministry, and what then, because since this is new, that was not properly put in place. So I would believe that a takeaway from this retreat may even be to advise the relevant authorities, maybe the office of the HF, so that we can even have the proper circulars to back up these new arrangements. Because I know that in the existing procurement circular, there was some special arrangements. You mentioned super agencies. There was some special arrangements in the procurement circular or guidelines to accommodate an agency such as NNPC. They were not to follow what was applicable to all the other agencies. But I believe that one important point, because the takeaway also from your story is the need for effective coordination, collaboration, working within the laid down rules, laid down guidelines. People are very clear as to what they need to do, following the laws, following the regulations. Delays, in my view, delays are not caused by regulations. Because if you take away regulations, then you want anarchy. Delays are caused by the human resource, by the mindset of those who are running these agencies. That is it. So I believe that, because I want a situation where the mindset of those who are running NDDC will change, the mindset of those of us who are running the ministry would also change. And that means that we'll be determined to say whatever we have to do, we will act expeditiously, and then we'll treat whatever is before us professionally, without any considerations. We'll deal with whatever is before us professionally. So if somebody is sitting on somebody's file and is expecting that he has to be seen before the file is acted upon, that has nothing to do with supervision. It has something to do with the wrong values and with the mindset. And that is what we also need to address moving forward, if the change I am looking for must come. So I thank you.
Let me thank the minister for his comments and also explaining. Okay, first, the issue of procurement, the procurement person will be able to answer that when it comes in. Two, I think if there is something I miss here, maybe we need to clear it. Nobody is dissolving the commission into the ministry. The commission is still going to exist as its own entity. The day-to-day running of the commission is still going to be done, and with the board also governing it. But there are lines of, level of authority that you need. And when the representative of the DG procurement comes here, they'll be able to tell you there are certain things that the ministry said you have to carry to executive